chooses the French horse, Conrad, with 4 faults in the second round while riding Apollo. He has to be considered one of the favorites.
Well, going into this, you would say Conrad, based on experience, he's the best American rider, and Nick Skelton, the British rider, he's the best European rider. They're going to be the favorites. They've done this before. They have the big edge.
Homefeld is riding Japelou, an 11-year-old French horse, a very small horse, isn't he?
Yes, and the crowd really went wild when they saw him get on this horse because everything was out of proportion. He almost looked like he was on a pony.
This is the horse ridden by Pierre Durand, the Frenchman. And of course, as we said, in the individual championship, each rider rides his own horse plus the 3 of the others. Safely over the 4th and 5th jumps.
This is a very, very difficult test in a rider's skill. It's almost like telling the Indy 500 drivers after they finish the race, hey guys, swap cars, you know, Mirzir and Andretti's. But leave the steering and suspension the way it is. They can't change the equipment on these horses except their saddles.
The triple. Oh dear. Safely under the time limit, Conrad Homefeld, but he did have 4 faults. That gives him 8 through 3 rounds. Gail Greenough, Nick Skelton still on top. Homefeld with 8 faults, Pierre Durand with 20. Back in a minute. 45,000 seats. There's a crowd of 60,000 because of the overflow on hand today. Nick Skelton is up next on Mr. T. This is a horse Robert Ridlin knows well. He spent some time talking about his footwear.
Like tires on a race car or cleats on football shoes, horseshoes are made to be adaptable to different turf conditions for maximum traction. Since we can't change the horseshoes in mid-competition, what we change are these metal studs. Each horseshoe has 2 holes in it, and you simply screw them in like bolts. Normally, the small studs go in front and the larger ones behind, with the largest stud on the outside, since that's the pivot point of a horse's turn. And in Aachen, where the weather is so unpredictable, it's important that all 8 studs can be changed in a matter of minutes right at the ring.
What kind of footwear might they be wearing today?
Well, it's a sunny day. The turf is firm, and they're going to be wearing very small cleats today.
Now, Nick Skelton on Mr. T. He is one of the favorites, but this horse was ridden roughly by the Frenchman in the last round.
Well, Pierre Durand really rode him too fast, and that kind of fried his brain. The horse is now going to be too anxious to get to the jumps. So Nick's job is going to be to slow him down. That's what he couldn't do right there. That horse just made a bid right at the jump. He's trying to rate him back, slow him down, quiet him down.
And that was not the most difficult jump. 4 faults already. Skelton came into this round tied for first. Here are 2 difficult jumps coming up.
Get that oxer there. Now slow down, bring him back, bring him back. You see how rough he had to get that second to last stride.
This is a horse ridden by Gail Greenough, the Canadian gal. Actually, you at one time sold this horse to her, I understand.
Yes, he started in Germany as a very young horse. I know the horse very well. You don't need any leg on him. What he's going to try to do here is just not use the accelerator pedal. Just sit tight.
Triple combination coming up. Oh, merciful heaven.
Unbelievable. You see what he tried to do? He tried to slow the horse down there. Everything got mixed up.
Well, let's take a look and see if you can determine exactly what happened.
Well, he's slowing him down there, and right there he breaks into a trot that really mixes up the distance, puts him on a half stride. The horse can't jump. He tries to stop, and he falls right through it.
There's a concerned Gail Greenough. That's her horse.
And that's her veterinarian right next to her, Danny Marks.
Now, Nick Skelton trying to recompose himself. The bell sounds signaling the resumption of time, and he'll try this triple again.
Horse looks fine.
7 faults, 4 earlier, 3 for the refusal. And safely through the combination this time, but a total of 10 faults, 7 on the course, and 3 for exceeding the time allowed. And Skelton with 10 faults, and a disheartened Princess Anne with the sunglasses looking on, watching her countryman. Next up will be the Frenchman Pierre Durand, 31 years of age, from a village near Bordeaux, and a real surprise to make it to the Final Four.
Well, he really wasn't a surprise to make it to the Final Four because he is the best horse-rider combination in France. In other words, he really gets along with the horse Japelou that he normally rides. However, he is not regarded as one of the top riders on other horses.
And he is riding Abdullah right now, which is the horse normally ridden by Conrad Homfeld.
Abdullah is a 15-year-old Trakehner stallion, the only stallion in the competition. He's owned by Sue and Terry Williams, who probably for the first time in this horse's life are rooting against him.
Durand got off to a disastrous start. 8 faults on his own horse, Japalou. And then he had 12 faults on Mr. T. Doing quite well in this round.
What he has to do is try to ride the horse like his regular rider, Conrad. Conrad rides with a very quiet hand, but a firm one. He doesn't do any jerking.
Hear the oohs and ahs of this crowd, anticipated, expected to be 60,000 in the background.
He's keeping it smooth. That's good. Oop.
Oops. Pierre Durand finishes this round with 4 faults. That gives him a total of 24 through 3 rounds. Conrad Homfeld still with a chance to win the gold medal. Currently in second place. And now Gail Greenough, the first woman in this sport ever make it to the Final Four. She's had just a miraculous week here and has become the heartthrob of the crowd as much by the warmth of her personality as the excellence of her equestrian skills. Clean in the first 2, 26 years old, from Edmonton in Canada.
She's riding the British horse, Raffles Apollo, who is the oldest horse of the 4. He's 16-year-old. He's an Irish gelding.
Close.
Now, this is the horse that Gail could really have problems with. This is the strongest horse of the whole competition. He can really pull your arms off. And that's where a lot of people think Gail's going to have a tough problem, is really just physically holding him back.
How's she doing so far?
Very, very well, except for that rub going in. She couldn't hold him back quite enough. He got a rub. It didn't come down, though.
She is the first woman in the Final Four, also the first Canadian to make it to the Final Four. And the triple coming up.
Tight turn there.
Watch with the crowd.
Ooh, lucky there.
She's done it again. Gail Greenough for the day, 3 clean rounds.
This crowd is really going crazy. They've really adopted her as their favorite.
So Gail Greenough moves into first place. Conrad Homfeld second, Nick Skelton third, and Pierre Durand is 4th. This week has been perfect. Watch. Every one of those looks like it hurts, and you're going to tell me it doesn't.
No, it does. Many times it does.
Now back to the serious business at hand. Here is Conrad Homfeld, currently in second place. This is his final ride. He is riding Mr. T, a horse that has proven difficult today.
A big surprise that he has been difficult. Everybody thought he'd be the easiest horse to ride, and he's had 2 disastrous rides. We saw what happened to Nick when he went into the triple combination. Conrad really has a problem. Those are carryover effects, really.
From the one bad ride from the Frenchman.
Sure. This horse, he almost knows the course. He's been around it 3 times. He knows Conrad's going to turn right coming up. And he's going to get anxious at the jumps. And he knows he hasn't really been enjoying his afternoon.
Tough one here. Ooh. Oh, close. Are these as skittish as thoroughbreds, these horses?
Absolutely, and many of them in jumping competitions are thoroughbreds. We don't happen to be seeing any today, but they all have the same brain, really.
One more, and then the triple combination before the main grandstand. Homfeld with 8 faults so far. ride. Excellent ride by Conrad Homfeld from Southampton, New York. A clean ride in the fourth and final round. And the crowd most appreciative. Now Gail Greeno, first woman ever in the finals.
George, my hands are shaking.
I can understand why. What a story she can write. Nick Skelton, of course, is up next. Gail Greeno has to wait. Skelton riding Abdullah, the horse normally ridden by Conrad Homfeld. He's been the best rider in Europe this year, right?
For the last several years. He's an incredibly talented rider.
29 years old.
Now, he saw, obviously, what Pierre Durand did in the previous ride. That was when Pierre really got too active in the middle of the triple and inverted the... Ooh.
Got a break.
Well, that rail shook for a while. It's still up.
Did not fall. Now, numbers 4 and 5 have proven very difficult. There's 4. See him rate the horse and pull him back.
That is a 5-stride distance. That means the horse takes 5 galloping strides, but they're very short strides. That's why the riders have to bring him back with their hands. The bridles are really the brakes. And your legs are the accelerator.
Now, Nick Skelton from Great Britain with 3 more to go. Safely over the third. A clean ride for Skelton. The only misfortune he had here in the individual championships came in the third round on Mr. T when he had the problem at the first portion of the triple combination. Gail Greeno is in the lead. Homfeld second. Final ride. Homfeld second, Skelton third, and Durand is fourth. He has already completed his final ride. And here is the 26-year-old young lady from Edmonton who now lives in Toronto with a chance to make history by becoming the first woman to ever win the individual world horse jumping title. No lock yet, though.
At one time, the women had a separate championship because they were felt to be inferior to the men. Boy, we're sure not seeing that case today.
Isn't that true? She's had 3 clean rounds so far today, and this crowd has just absolutely adopted her.
She has no means wrapped it up, though. This horse had 8 faults with his regular rider. That shows how difficult he is.
This is Japalou, the horse normally ridden by the Frenchman Pierre Durand.
Easy around the turn.
That's 4. That's 5. She can knock down 1 rail and still win. If she knocks down 2 rails, she goes into a jump-off with Conrad Homfeld. Now, this amazing young lady is only 3 jumps away from writing an extraordinary story in sport. 3, 2, 1 more. She has done it. At the age of 26, this delightful gal with a dimpled smile has become the first woman to ever win the World Horse Jumping Championship. The Canadians who are here love it.
No Canadian has ever won the World Championships.
Conrad Homfeld finishes second. And he appreciates the effort of Gail Greeno. Now let's go down to our champion with Robert Ridland.
What does it feel like to be the first women's world champion, first Canadian?
I'm really tongue-tied. I'm really excited. I mean, it's just happened. I can't believe it. It's going to take months for it to settle in. I'm just really excited. I'm going to cry.
She was perfect today. Conrad Homfeld finishes second. Nick Skelton third. Pierre Durand fourth. For Robert Ridland, I'm Vern Lundquist. Goodbye from Aachen. Sports Sunday is next, featuring a 10-round middleweight bout live from Las Vegas. Milt McCrory against Doug DeWitt from Canada. Also, same-day coverage of the Tour de France.